Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Play Deus Ex Human Revolution, and let's continue the game where we almost last left off, which was trying to find Taggart, and yes, I did miss him, and this is where he is. And after that, after we've spoken with him, we'll backtrack, and I'll show you where we actually missed the spot. But first, oh yeah, forgot that this was actually level 5. Now there are alternate routes, but I still got one automatic hack, and I guess we've done now everything we can, so we don't need any more of these. And we'll discuss with Taggart.
Mr. Jensen, how ironic that you should be the one to save us from the monsters out there.
Monsters, Taggart? You mean people. Augmented people who've lost all control, lost their reason.
Isn't that supposed to be my line? Unfortunately, it seems your esteemed Mr. Darrow decided to appropriate my point and turn it back on me. In madness and in blood. He has betrayed us all.
So you finally admit it. You are part of this, after all. You have been all along.
It would be pointless to deny anything now, but despite what you think of us, we never wanted augmentations outlawed. All we've ever sought is regulation. Rules governing how the technology is developed and laws that ensure it's used for the good of society.
You've raised society above humanity. So who gets to make those rules?
Men with wisdom, strength, and tenacity to know what's right. Proven leaders who distinguish themselves like you, Mr. Jensen. You've certainly earned the right to be one of us. All you have to do is take it.
I'm not looking for glory, Taggart.
Just remember that without control, there's no room for freedom, only anarchy. You were a policeman once. You know the importance of order.
I know there's a difference between order and slavery.
The biochip wasn't supposed to force people to do anything. It merely limited power so that people couldn't go on killing sprees like the ones taking place right now.
Amazing how well that worked out.
Say what you will, but I know that some part of you agrees with me. Absolute freedom is no different than absolute chaos. Society needs boundaries if it has any hope of surviving, and you, Mr. Jensen, can be the one to give us that hope. Shut down Darrow's signal, then help me get a message out saying that an accident at VersaLife contaminated the world's neuropozyne supply.
VersaLife? And what if I decided to blame the Illuminati?
The Illuminati is just a name to get rich financiers to invest more money. Besides, do you really think the world will believe in some 18th century conspiracy theory? Do this for us, and you'll ensure a future for mankind, all of mankind, augmented or otherwise. The future Hugh Darrow offers doesn't allow for both.
Let me think about it.
So yes, Taggart is part of the Illuminati.
All of this is as much your fault as it is Darrow's. You and your cabal.
Perhaps. But all we sought was a safety valve, Mr. Jensen. A means of making sure the world would never spin out of control. The potential of this technology is great, but as we've seen, its potential for destruction is even greater.
Your doomsday scenario doesn't impress me. You'd say anything to stay in power.
Do you think humanity will simply police itself? We do not live in some Eden, Mr. Jensen. Or are you that much like your boss, David Seraph, who envisions a world where everyone is enhanced and suddenly they all love each other? There will always be a need for methods of control.
And conveniently, in your future, the Illuminati will hold the reins.
Not directly. There are organizations already in place that are better equipped to handle certain things, the UN, for instance.
Reimagined, no doubt.
At least somewhat. And this technology will be a great part of it. Imagine, Mr. Jensen, a world governed by common principles. The end to international power struggles, to terrorism. These things can be accomplished if you join us. Stop the signal broadcast and get the word out, Mr. Jensen.
Some reason can't access that.
How did you manage to avoid being affected by the signal? Were you in on it with that bastard, Darrow? Now the governments of the world will finally realize that every one of you should be shut down and disassembled. This technology needs to be shot back when it's solved.
Hugh Darrow is a monster. Such a tragedy. In the right hands, this technology could have helped so many people. If I hadn't made up my mind long ago, this would prove to me that augmentation technology should be under strict controls.
You seem to be unaffected by the signal that Darrow is broadcasting. I suppose that is a military adaptation? You seem to be unaffected by...
Okay, well, now we've done everything. So now, let's get to it. And head back. First, let's take up... Now let's... Whoa! Ah. That was the alternate route. Well, let's be quick about it. And here's the server room area. It was above the floor area. Of this rail walking where we jumped down.
You're the one who did this. No, stop.
I need for you to understand.
And now we're back on track. And back here. Now all we need to do is get through the guard railing. Now you can relax.
I won't. No, 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 no.
Short on ammo. Now I still got shotgun shells. Well, let's just... No, I'm not gonna drink that. Just want to check. Well, a few grenade rounds. Well, I think we're stacked up well enough. Point of no return. in we go. Come on. And thank you. Let's look around. Who knows, we might find some more ammo, but I do get some more during the boss fight, as always. Heavy rifle ammo. Plasma rifle. And some painkillers.
What the hell? Oh my God.
Water pressure nominal 173 psi.
Who am I?
Communications web online.
I feel cold.
Drones 1 through 3 within operational parameters.
I don't remember.
Drone 4 disconnected.
Let me go.
Processing.
Oh God, please help me. I'm scared.
Core temperature stable. Processing.
Zhao, what are you doing?
Connecting to Panchaea's Hiron project, Mr. Jensen. The most advanced quantum computer slave to the human brain, and the closest to perfection we'll ever achieve. I'm going to use it to hack Darrow's signal and rework the message to our benefit.
Our benefit? You mean the Illuminati's?
Someone has to override the signal and be the world's savior. And let's be honest, neither of us would trust anyone else to fill that role. Computer, begin EEG sync.
So much pain.
Syncing beta waves at 40 cycles per second.
Sleep, please. Let me sleep.
Incompatible master-slave chain detected. Alert. Unable to transfer control to Alpha Pod.
The system won't recognize my chip.
Neural systems offline. Rerouting control of the
I can't control Hiron.
Increasing glutamate by 52%.
Zhao, get them out of there. I have to reach the control chamber.
No! I can still control it! I can control!
Stop the signal.
Security alert.
Through the primary drone hatch.
Oh, shit.
And yes, the final boss fight now.
Alpha Pod security in place.
I did get one more practice point. Don't know what can I use it anymore. I would require 2 to open my aiming ability, and this would allow me to run faster, hacking. Well, might as well then.
To access Alpha Pod, purge tertiary pod.
I was the one to alter the signal! Once I do, the council will open up!
Why does he want to kill us? Kill him.
You have to have this better served in your head down, Jensen.
I'll do it, Mother. Just don't hurt anymore. Okay. Please, keep it away from us. Sufficient. Insufficient.
Once the weight of your gaze touches you, there is no escape.
Now this was a bit of a trick battle. I'm gonna drink the vodka quickly and wait until it...
It hurts. It hurts so much. Systems are... My organic systems under stress will acclimatize.
Do you see where honor and ambition lead you? To a whole mile deep in the ocean, to meet your end. I'm powerless.
Look at what they've done. I don't like it here. No, like it. It's so cool down here. Show us the light, Mother. Where's the light?
I must fight this. I must succeed.
I can't move. Why can't I move? These CHD levels are critically low.
Let's use the grenade launcher now to take out the...
I have no choice but to eliminate you. You have ruined everything.
Contamination.
And now I actually don't remember. Do I have to kill these? This is actually a little bit of blurry for me back in the day. Yes, I...
Online constantly. There's too much to keep track of. Supplemental diagnostics required before we can sleep.
Contamination.
Tayo will die.
Or did I? Ah, damn it. This
Sorrow will no longer be a thorn in my side.
press purge. I'm now out of handgun ammo.
Results of the diagnostics are conclusive.
In system.
Oh yes, you did.
Weakening.
Rerouting. Connection.
I'm regaining control. I must. Ah!
Yeah.
Reroute complete.
Well, I might as well then use the alternative. Oh yeah, I could have used it. Well, not the most epic final battle, but
Access granted. Manual override of tertiary pods initiated. Total system purge in effect. Shutting down tertiary stations.
at least you can now hack it.
Electrical charge subcritical and rising. Electric discharge sequence initialized.
Where did you get that gold? That fool, Daryl. This will not stop me, Jensen.
But thankfully I now have the immunity for this.
No, wait! It's initiating emergency protocols! Ah! You don't know the resources they have at their disposal, Jensen. Despite your special genetics, you have been in over your head the whole time. Initiate dissipation protocol.
Warning. Electrical charge subcritical and rising. Halfway to discharge
And now,
Down. He betrayed them.
Warning. Primary pod compromised. Secondary security
Oh.
measures activated. Evacuate area.
You still cannot reach it, Jensen. There are too many contingencies built into the system.
Damn mine.
You and I have both failed.
Get some grenades, would be nice.
Electrical charge approaching.
I do remember that it was a little bit confusing fight. Now I'm...
Clear the area.
This was why I was saving grenades, because I did remember that Zhao will send, but now this part always a bit perplexed me. Now I can't activate this. Have I now killed all these, despite that it still shows me. So, and this part always got to me a little bit. Even back then, that was it just that. Yeah. Yeah, it always confused me, but yeah. Yeah, the final battle, a little bit anticlimactic and weird. And so much for Zhao. And now, there's only one thing remaining. Deciding what to do.
Hello, Adam. Welcome to the Edge. It is not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
Eliza? What are you doing here?
It is my job to monitor and report on the news, Adam. Before Darrow smothered everything with his signal, the whole world was tuned into this place, including me.
The broadcast. I have to stop it.
I know. Please, come closer. Do you know where we are, Adam? We are at the fulcrum point, when society lies in the balance. Hugh Darrow hoped to tip the scales one way, by telling the world everything you already know. About the biochip, the Illuminati, everything. He believed knowing the truth would convince mankind to abandon research into human enhancement technologies forever.
It would certainly give them reason to fear it.
Indeed. Darrow's confession is ready to send. If you want, I can wideband it across all media as soon as you shut down the signal. Everything you worked so hard to uncover will be exposed. But only if you deactivate the broadcast using this control. However, if you desire, I can alter Darrow's message. Conceal the creation of the biochip while putting in new content.
Content blaming the humanity front, like Sarah suggested.
The organization has already admitted to harboring terrorists. It would be easy to convince people they turn to biological warfare in a more desperate attempt to get rid of augmented people.
But why? What would that achieve?
In time, it could shift the focus of hatred onto people whose prejudices are seen as too extreme. leaving corporations free to experiment with human evolution as they desire. But if you want me to perform this edit for you, you must disengage the signal and activate the video edit function from here. Alternatively, Darrow's message can be adjusted to erase all mention of the power group known as the Illuminati. I can report that lack of proper regulation allowed vast quantities of neuropozyne to become contaminated prior to reaching the market.
Taggart's preference. You think the world will buy a made-up story about neuropozyne poisoning?
You might be surprised by what people believe. I can convince them. And having experienced the negative effects of corporate negligence firsthand, a majority of people might force the world to place harsh restrictions on all human enhancement research. But only if you disengage the signal and activate the video edit function from here. Of course, there is another option. This passage leads to Panchaea's pressure regulation controls. Destroy them and the installation will cave in on itself, overwhelmed by the weight of the ocean pressing against it. Everyone inside the structure will die.
That's a solution?
No one will be left to tell the world what happened, Adam. Nobody will be able to spin the story.
Including me.
The choice is yours. Do you believe you have the wisdom to choose an appropriate future for mankind? Or do you trust mankind to find the answers on its own?
So, you now have 4 choices. And each has their own advantages and disadvantages in the point of view. Now, Darrow wants to abandon augmentation completely, Illuminati control, and Sarif completely, and the final choice that reject all the choices. But I'm gonna choose, well, technically there is no canon choice in the game, but I guess I'm gonna go with Sarif, because in the end, truth, well, you cannot stop progress, and once again the Illuminati wants to control. Although even Sarif's point of view that unregulated augmentation could lead to disaster, but I still think, well, in this playthrough, that progress is the only way we move forward. So I'm gonna send Sarif's message.
If you do this, the focus of hatred may shift to those responsible for unleashing biological warfare, leaving corporations free to experiment with human evolution. Are you sure this is your choice?
Now, I'm gonna show all the points that Eliza will give you.
Think about it.
If you do this, the unadulterated truth in Darrow's confession may well convince mankind to cast all science and technology aside, to ensure that future generations grow up free and whole. Are you sure this is your choice?
Let me think about it.
If you do this, first-hand experience with corporate negligence on such a grand scale may convince mankind to enact harsh restrictions on human enhancement research. Are you sure this is your choice?
Let me think about it.
And in here is, I think, is the valve, if you so choose to. Yes.
If you do this, the world will be left with questions and may never reach a consensus. Are you sure this is your choice?
Let me think about it.
So there are all your choices, but let's go with Sarif's point of view.
If you do this, the focus of hatred may shift to those responsible for unleashing biological warfare, leaving corporations free to experiment with human evolution. Are you sure this is your choice? So be it then.
Sarif was right about one thing. It's in our nature to want to rise above our limits. Think about it. We were cold, so we harnessed fire. We were weak, so we invented tools. Every time we met an obstacle, we used creativity and ingenuity to overcome it. The cycle is inevitable. But will the outcome always be good? I guess that will depend on how we approach it. These past few months, I was challenged many times. But more often than not, didn't I try to keep morality in mind, knowing that my actions didn't have to harm others? Time and time again, didn't I resist the urge to abuse power and resources simply to achieve my goals more swiftly? In the past, we've had to compensate for weaknesses, finding quick solutions that only benefit a few. But what if we never need to feel weak or morally conflicted again? What if the path Sarif wants us to take enables us to hold on to higher values with more stability? One thing is obvious. For the first time in history, we have a chance to steal fire from the gods. To turn away from it now, to stop pursuing a future in which technology and biology combine, leading to the promise of a singularity, would mean to deny the very essence of who we are. No doubt the road to get there will be bumpy, hurting some people along the way. But won't achieving the dream be worth it? We can become the gods we've always been striving to be. We might as well get good at it.
And that concludes Let's Play Deus Ex Human Revolution Director Scott. And my final thoughts of the game. Well, Deus Ex is one of my favorite games of all time, and one of my favorite games in the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation. I don't have much bad to say about this game. The Director's Cut does improve some of the aspects, like the boss fights, giving you a little bit more tools. The only things that I find disappointing is the final fight. It is a bit anticlimactic, and the boss fights in general, they are maybe oversimplified. But the story is interesting, and maybe the only lacking part of it is the villains, that they are very one-dimensional, the mercenaries. We never get to learn their motivations and why they attack Sarif and where they came from, and how that they are just, bad guys. But overall, I like this game. The voice acting of Adam Jensen, can't find the caster here, does phenomenal job, and the gameplay is very good. But I do have to admit that the combat is a bit clunky, that I prefer playing stealthily, because the gameplay does feel it favors stealth gameplay more than combat. The combat feels a little stiff, and the enemy hit detection is, maybe it's because this takes place in augmented, is very quick. The enemies are very eagle-eye, and on harder difficulties I find combat, because I have played this game on the most difficult settings, almost impossible. You will die almost with a couple of hits, even with the improved armor augmentation. But the gameplay is very solid. I do love the multiple pathways, and that is the blueprint of the game, because this is not the first Deus Ex game. The original Deus Ex game was released by Ironstorm in 2000, and it kind of set the stage of this kind of gameplay, mixing action and RPG elements to the game. I personally never played that game back in the day, but I did know it by reputation. I wasn't into RPGs when it was first time released, but when I started playing this, I found a new appreciation for the genre of the Deus Ex. And technically this game is a prequel to the Deus Ex of 2000 and its sequel, The Invisible War. But I don't know if it continues on, as the sequel doesn't make any references, or at least in my point of view, to the original games. I could be wrong, like I said. I never played the original. I have watched Let's Plays of it. Actually, I did that when I completed this game back in the day. So, what else do I have to say? Well, I guess I don't have much to say. All in all, I enjoyed doing this Let's Play. This is an awesome game, and will there be more Deus Ex? Well, it will be, but who knows when, because the latest sequel was released for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and I will eventually start doing also PlayStation 4 games, but I have a long backlog of other games, PlayStation 2, 3, Xbox original, Xbox 360 and PlayStation 1 before I'll start moving on to the current gen, which will soon be, well, old gen, as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X gets released later on. And this game also, as I was mentioning, will Elias Tufix as Adam Jensen. Good voice actor for this game, and really gave Adam Jensen a very charismatic character. But anyway, I'm now rambling on. As I was about to say, this game does have at the end of the credits a little Easter egg of the Deus Ex original game, which hints that the universe is connected. But like I said, I'm not sure how much it's now officially connected, because, well, Deus Ex 2 kinda goes to its own path, but unfortunately, and I kind of refer this as the Adam Jensen saga, which is unfortunately a bit of a hiatus, because there is a sequel in the PlayStation 4, but now it also ends in a cliffhanger, and the future of the Deus Ex series is, well, up in the air. Hopefully we will get a conclusion to this series. One can hope, because I definitely enjoy this, from the story point and the world in general. So, what's next for me? Well, although I played stealthily this game, I'm thinking of continuing on the PlayStation 3 and play next a fully stealth genre. What it will be? Well, you just have to tune in to find out. But I guess I have now said all I want to say. I'm Canine Gamer, and this has been Let's Play Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut. And if you enjoy these kinds of Let's Plays, give it a thumbs up, comment, share, feedback, subscribe, all that good stuff, and join me again in a few days with a new Let's Play. But until then, let the credits roll and let's see the epilogue, and as always, I'll see you when I see you. Excuse me. Later.
You worry too much, Morgan. There's nothing we can't manage given time. She's here. I have to cut this short. Keep going through the wreckage. Maybe we'll find something we can use for the Morpheus initiative. Come in. Dr. Reed. We're so pleased you decided to join us.
Where else could I go?
No regrets, my dear. As Ariadne told Theseus before he entered the Minotaur's labyrinth, always forward, never left or right. You'll be very interested in our current project. We're breaking new ground.
Yes, the nanite virus chimera is quite intriguing. I'm looking forward to seeing the hybrid project up close, Mr. Page.
And so you shall. But please, call me Bob.